1805, Austerlitz. When this man's cannons fired, empires fell. (1219), Khwarezmia. When this man's cavalry passed through, cities ceased to exist. One conquered Europe with cannons, the other conquered the world with horses and bows. Erase 600 years, put them on the same battlefield. Does the better weapon win, or the better mind? Napoleon read battlefields the way most men read books. At Austerlitz, he weaponized the fog. While the enemy stumbled blind, he seized the Pratzen Heights, and with it, the heart of the battlefield. Napoleon's real weapon was never the cannon itself. It was knowing where, when, and how much firepower to concentrate. He poured everything into the enemy's weakest point. By the time they reacted, their line was already broken. At Austerlitz, the combined armies of Russia and Austria were annihilated. For the next decade, no general in Europe defeated Napoleon in a pitched battle. Clausewitz defined war as the force to break an enemy's will. Napoleon was the man who made that definition real. Genghis Khan's army had no shape. Khwarezmia fielded 200,000 soldiers and couldn't find the Mongols. By the time they did, they were already surrounded from 3 directions. The Mongol horse archer was the only soldier in history who fought while running away. Chase them, they shoot you from the saddle. Stop, they surround you. Run, they swallow you whole. There was no scenario where Mongol cavalry lost the advantage. Sun Tzu wrote, "Be without form, and no enemy can find you." Genghis Khan carved that lesson into the steppe itself. If Napoleon was the general who dominated the battlefield, Genghis Khan was the general who made the battlefield disappear. The European plains, Napoleon's home turf. Cannons on the high ground. Wait for the enemy to enter range. On the horizon, Genghis Khan's cavalry appeared. "600 years of technological evolution. And it was brutal. Maximum range of a Mongol bow, 200 paces. Maximum range of Napoleon's 12-pound cannon, 1,500 paces. The cannonball arrived before the arrow ever could. Napoleon's cuirassiers were a wall of steel. Mongol arrows hit their armor and shattered like twigs against a fortress. In Napoleon's century, Genghis Khan's way of war looked obsolete. Genghis Khan wasn't retreating, he was leading. In all of history, almost no commander saw through a Mongol withdrawal in time. At the Kalka River, the Russians gave chase. The Grand Prince of Kiev never came back. Napoleon once marched all the way to Moscow. His empire broke there. The Russian steppe was Napoleon's grave, and Genghis Khan was dragging him into the same kind of grave now. Sun Tzu wrote, "Water avoids the heights and flows to the low ground." Genghis Khan didn't dodge Napoleon's firepower. He moved the entire war to a place where firepower couldn't reach. Mongol riders cut the supply line in 3 places at once. The French didn't know which fire to put out first. Ammunition started running low. Food ran out. Napoleon himself once said, "Amateurs talk tactics, professionals talk logistics." The irony was suffocating. The man who preached logistics was being strangled by his own supply chain. Napoleon wanted a decisive battle. Genghis Khan refused to give him one. Appear, vanish, vanish, appear. The French were fighting ghosts. Clausewitz called this the fog of war. But for Genghis Khan, the fog wasn't an obstacle, it was a weapon. Napoleon's cannons fired. But there were only a handful of rounds left. Genghis Khan had been waiting for exactly this moment. Let the lion exhaust itself, then the wolves close in from every direction. It worked at Khwarezmia. It worked at the Kalka River. It was working now. Napoleon's cannon was the most powerful weapon on Earth, but a cannon with no ammunition is just a piece of metal. Genghis Khan didn't beat the cannon. He ended the war before the cannon could fire. The cannons remained on the steppe, the most powerful weapons in the world. Reduced to useless iron on the widest grassland on Earth. Napoleon was a great general. On any battlefield in Europe, no one could beat him. But war doesn't only happen in Europe. The steppe was not Napoleon's world. That was the only difference. Napoleon was the general who dominated the battlefield, control everything, calculate everything. At the decisive moment, concentrate all firepower. Genghis Khan was the general who chose the battlefield. Avoid where the enemy is strong. Wait until they're weak, and when they're weak, devour them. What overcame 600 years of technological superiority wasn't a better weapon. It was a bigger strategy. Clausewitz said war is the force to break an enemy's will. Sun Tzu said you must win the war before it begins. Napoleon was a god in Clausewitz's world. Genghis Khan was a god in Sun Tzu's world. Does the better weapon win, or the better mind? The answer may depend on where you're standing.